Am I the asshole for not donating my bone marrow to my birth father? Just a throwaway cause I have friends on Reddit and I haven't talked to them about this. And #X200B. I, 17M, am adopted. My birth parents weren't able to care for a newborn and I ended up in foster care cause of it. I was adopted by my family when I was 2. I have a very happy life, one I likely wouldn't have with my birth parents. About a month ago, my birth parents got into contact with my family. Long story short, my birth father is sick and needs a bone marrow transplant. They are on a wait list but haven't heard back just yet. I am the only child they ever had and odds are I am a match. Pretty much they wanted my parents to get me tested and then donated my marrow to him. My parents told me that it's up to me and after some thought, I said no. I don't know them other than they gave birth to me. They have had no part in my life whatsoever and now they suddenly need me. Well, they send my parents a nasty message saying they can sue to force me to donate my marrow. I do feel a little bad but I feel like this isn't my problem. Am I the asshole? Hey Reddit, sorry right after I posted, I went to the store with my mom. Just wanted to clear up some things I read in the comments. I'm a boy but flattered some of you think I'm pretty enough to be a girl. I have no contact or anything with my birth parents. From what my parents told me, I was put into foster care when I was less than a month old. That is how they got me and they decided to adopt me, which was finalized when I turned 2. I have 4 siblings and I have a great life. They told me when I was old enough that I am adopted but outside of that I had no idea who my birth parents were or what they even looked like. Someone said I should do it cause what if I need medical information, want to get to know them, or something like that. Yeah, no. I have no desire to get to know these people. None. I have no desire to seek out grandparents, cousins and uncles. I don't want to know if some form of rare cancer runs in the family cause they are not my family. I haven't spent 17 years of my life with them. Why would I want to get to know them? Edit. For those of you who keep saying, you should reconsider it, how about you donate to him? My parents told me to think about. I thought it and the answer is no. No. I'm not doing it. That it. Morning Reddit. It's early, I'm getting ready for school between typing this. Read more comments this morning and again let me clear something all. My egg and sperm donors didn't lovingly give me up. I was taken. My parents don't know the exact reason cause that information was never released to them. They were told and I quote, "It wasn't a good environment for a child." I was taken. Even if they had given me up, doesn't mean I owe them anything. Not like I asked to be born like every freaking child on this green earth. If being born means I am sudden in debt to them, I would have been the slowest sperm you ever seen. I would have happily raced into a sock. Y'all can be a bunch of hypocrites. In one breath you say there are kids in foster care who need a home. Well, I was a foster kid who was given a home by 2 loving parents. Then in the next breath you're saying what about your family? I have a family. They have raised me for 17 years. Medical history? Some very helpful people have privately messaged me to let me know that in 2021, I get all that shit without ever having to speak to these people again. Ever. Amazing how far science has come, right? I'm going to be showing this to some of my friends today cause I have to admit, I'm over it. It's not my problem if this man dies. And again some people have pointed out in the comments odds are I wouldn't be a match anyway and he has been luck getting a donor off the list and it will be faster than waiting on me to get tested only to be told I'm not a match anyway. And again with those on your hill screaming, well wouldn't you donate to a stranger? I donate blood mostly cause it gets me out of PE class. I like donate blood. If someone receives that blood then congratulations. I put no more thought into it besides that. Even if they had come to my parents and said hey, you adopted our son and well we need a favor. Sorry to ask, blah blah, my answer would have still been no. I did my own research and found plenty of stories of kids who were used like gold mines for their genetic materials by their parents to save their siblings or a family member and that is all they were to their families. Someone who had the right match. I don't owe them anything. I don't care if she spent 8 hours in labor with me. They aren't my family. I have a wonderful family who are supporting me right now. Also my parents are working on finding how the hell they even knew where I was cause my adoption was a closed one. They had their rights terminated when I was taken. They shouldn't know shit about me. I dunno if they are contacting a lawyer or anything. I know they are pretty upset about all of this. I have to get to school. Later. Not the asshole. I'm no doctor, but I hear donating bone marrow can be a very risky procedure. I almost burst out laughing in the freaking office when I read they'd sue you to force you. They'll be laughed out of court. Assuming they even get that far. Edit. Slight misunderstanding. Not as bad as I initially thought. Not the asshole. I donated bone marrow to my sister 5 years ago. It was no small thing, I had complications with the surgery, couldn't walk for 2 weeks, etc. It was really painful. I was going to give you sort of a pep talk about doing it anyway, since you would be potentially saving a life. Even if it's the life of a complete stranger. That was until I read the line about how they threatened to sue you to force you to donate. That's the most tragically hilarious thing I've ever read. You cannot force a person to undergo a voluntary surgery. You should call their bluff. Not the asshole. How dare they threaten you like that? They gave up all rights to you at birth and are now still not wanting a relationship, just for you to undergo a medical procedure to save his life. Way to go, guys. They could have asked to meet you so they could plead their case, but they went nuclear. Ignore them. Not the asshole. Even if this person was present in your life, it would have been your call. Your body, your choice. By the way, they can't force legally you. Worst case scenario, if they force you to get tested, just tell the doctor that you don't want to donate but that they forced you to be there. There isn't a single doctor that would allow you to donate after that, and he will probably just tell your family that you are not a match so you can move on without any further issues. Well, they send my parents a nasty message saying they can sue to force me to donate my marrow. Your birth father is an AITA, and the legal system would throw the book at him if he tried. You can go into a doctor, tell your father you are being tested and tell the doctor that you were coerced into the procedure and don't want to do it, and the doctor will tell them you aren't a match, but no one legally has claim to your body and his lawsuit is ridiculous. This is just a tip if you want to get out of it quickly without dealing with his legal nonsense claims. Not the asshole. If they do try to sue, counter-sue for harassment and all legal fees occurred. Not the asshole. They weren't assholes for asking, that is reasonable. But they are absolutely assholes for A, not respecting your decision about your health and body, and B, for harassing you and your family about it. Not okay. Not the asshole. They don't contact you until they need something. Then when you decline, they get nasty? Not the asshole. A stranger just came to find you asking for a favor. A stranger. DNA be damned. Am I the asshole for not wanting to pay a friend's medical bill? In 2016, me, 19, M, and 4 close friends Nate, M, 20, Matt, M, 19, Saul, M, 19, and Randy, M, 18, took a road trip from LA to SF to do the sights. After checking into our hotel at 12 p.m., we all took a dosage of weed edibles before heading out. Randy took an additional dosage of the edible on his own. Me, Nate, Matt, Randy were used to the effects of smoking marijuana casually. In terms of edibles, Nate and I had limited experience. Matt had some experience, Saul and Randy had no experience. We reached the food truck with an outdoor patio area that we planned to eat at, ordered our food and sat down. Randy goes into a slump with his head down and hand folded on the table. He was out. I tried pulling his shoulder from the table so he would sit upright, but he just fell back into his slumped state. We tried to get Randy up and walking a bit to outside the patio but needed 2 people support him from his sides to walk him. He couldn't walk on his own and then ended up sitting on the ground, with his back leaning on a fence. 10 minutes later, he was still out of it to the point where a random lady started throwing handfuls of water at him to try and get him awake. We got our food to go and planned to go back to the hotel. We were all feeling off from the edible, but not to the extent Randy was. Matt calls an Uber, but when it came it turned out it could only hold 4 people. Me, Randy, and Nate get in the back of the Uber, while Matt and Saul walked back. I'm conversing with the driver but the driver notices that Randy is out cold. Nate tried waking him to no avail. I'm panicking at this point because I'm trying to slap Randy awake and he is just not responding. The driver asks if Randy wants medical attention, and I said yes, horrible decision in hindsight. So he pulls over, sees a cop on a bike and calls him over. The cop then proceeds to call for medical attention that included cop cars, fire trucks, and an ambulance. Minutes later, medical personnel come to the Uber and saw Randy is still not responding. They put him on a stretcher and into the back of an ambulance. I'm peak edible, not able to balance, holding on to Nate while the cop is interrogating me on what happened. After telling her we took edibles, she just told us to meet Randy at the hospital. We get to the hospital, and see our friend in a stretcher in the hallway. I asked the nurse if Randy was good, and she said that when he wakes up then we can get the discharge papers and leave. He wakes up about 30 minutes later and we leave with a $5,000 bill after insurance. After meeting up with Saul and Matt, Saul tells us he vomited multiple times OTW back. It was a consensus that the edibles were way too intense. Since 2016, I have been really good friends with Randy. However, he brings up the incident, occasionally in passing, and says I owe him $5,000. Last week, he started talking about a payment plan. Am I the asshole for not wanting to pay for it? And #X200B. Edit, I messed up the pseudonyms. Randy, the one who went to the hospital, asked about the payment plan in the last paragraph. Edit 2. Randy has smoked marijuana casually before, Saul has not. Not the asshole, you were worried about your friend. You guys should have been a bit more responsible when doing your drugs, but if your friend choose to take them, that's on him. Not the asshole, if he died because of the weed was laced and you hadn't brought him to the hospital, then his whole family would have blamed you for not getting him to the hospital. If he doesn't want to go to the he should try not getting so high he passes out in public. Not the asshole. Sorry, we choose to get you medical attention because we were so worried about how unresponsive you were. At this point it has been 5 years, we did what was right at the time. I've already said no to paying you back, please stop bringing this up. Not the asshole. He was unresponsive, so you did the right thing and got him help. It's not your job to pay medical bills due to him being not be able to handle edibles. Though y'all probably should have just had the Uber drive you to the hospital, would have been so much cheaper. I bet that $5,000 was mostly the ambulance ride. Not the asshole, assuming the mix-up is due to fake names being used. If anything had happened to Randy, you bet your ass his family would have held all 4 accountable and sued you into oblivion. You made the best decision you could, being high as a kite. Randy was an edible pig and these things happen. Not the asshole. But you should always have a sober friend. Not the asshole. Every day I find more reasons to be glad I'm not American. This story is 6 of them. You're all presumably adults and are the stuff of your own free will. Getting a completely unresponsive person to a hospital is never a terrible idea. You had no way to know he was going to wake up on his own. What if he hadn't? Then what? Not the asshole. Edit. Okay, I read it again. Did Nate pay the hospital for Randy before leaving? Or is Nate saying you owe Randy $5,000? If Nate is out $5,000 for Randy going to the hospital, he needs to collect it from Randy. Am I the asshole for being harsh on my mom and refusing to get my last name hyphenated? Okay, I've been holding off a while posting this because I know a lot of my family uses Reddit and it'll be easy for them to know it's me, but I don't care anymore. I, F19, am the product of an affair. I have 4 siblings, between 25 and 30, and I haven't talked to any of them since I was like 10. I lived with my mom till I was 5, then went to visit my aunt and uncle for weeks at a time. I'd stay with them 2-4 weeks, then go back home for a weekend and back with them for the same time. That soon became my new normal. The days I was home, my mom and her husband would argue, and it was obviously about me. He couldn't stand to be in the same room as me, look at me, just acknowledge me at all, and she acted like it was okay. I can't blame him for not liking me, but it was still fucked up on a level. Then maybe a year and a half later I stopped going home and my aunt and uncle became my guardians. My belongings were shipped to me and that was about it. My mom visited me on holidays, but that was all I heard of her. Then around 9 years old she stopped contacting me altogether. As I got older I no longer seen my mom as a mother, seen my aunt and uncle as my parents instead. I'll skip all the boring details but fast forward before my high school graduation, back in June, they sent out emails to us asking if we'd like to make any changes to our personal info before everything was put in our yearbooks, and I took that chance to change my last name to the same as aunt and uncle. Because we didn't get a regular graduation and our diplomas was mailed to us, we didn't receive them until 2 months after we graduated. I got it 3 weeks ago. I posted it on social media and showed my aunt and uncle. Things got us super emotional, but they loved it. Now I don't have any of my siblings or mom on social media, so I'm assuming a distant family member that I do have must have told her about it because she got in contact with me that same day on Messenger and asked why people were asking her about my name. When I told her I changed my last name on my diploma, she got mad that I didn't check with her to see if it was okay. This is where I feel I might be the I told her she was barely a mother to me and she cared more about being with her husband than raising her daughter. I said I was legally going to change my last name anyways and don't want her permission. She said I should at least get my name hyphenated, and I told her I didn't want any part of her last name as it meant nothing to me. Am I the asshole? Okay, so I just lurked her Birthgiver's Facebook page a little, and she's been posting updates about me for years. Even posted some pictures of me that I know she took from my Instagram page that's private, so I'm not sure how she's gotten a hold of any of this. I'm gonna make a new Instagram, but as for the current one, it's going public and it's going to be blessed with a lot of the replies I got on here. She and whoever else can look at all of you guys' lovely comments. I asked them to adopt me and they're gonna do it! Exclamation mark. Not the asshole. Your mum's logic. I didn't raise you, but you should ask my permission before taking your parents, because they are your parents. Surname. No. Not the asshole. She feels guilty for abandoning you. You did nothing wrong. Congratulations on graduating, and I'm happy for you and your parents. It's great that you're going to change your name to be the same as them. Not the asshole. Your mum's husband is an asshole for taking the affair out on an innocent child. Your mother is an asshole for allowing him to do so and shipping you away. Your mother abandoned you. You owe her absolutely nothing. I completely agree with everything you are saying, doing. I want to give you a big hug, and bake your aunt and uncle a massive cake. Not the asshole, and I suggest you change your last name legally also as quick as possible. I am actually surprised the school would do this without seeing a document that your name has been changed legally. Not the asshole. Apart from the fact that it is your choice, she has no right to be offended by your choice. She literally gave you up. Do your distant relatives know about it? Seems like your mom is just embarrassed about it. As she should. Not the asshole, and congratulations. I'd also look into adult adoption, cause that'd just be the icing on the name change cake. Not the asshole. What a beautiful way to honor your chosen family. Not the asshole. Don't fall into the trap of trying to protect your mom from the consequences of her own actions, including feelings of guilt. It's all on her. You were a child, and you had literally no say in any of this. Also, probably consider seeing a therapist to work through some of these things. It'll help with future trickiness in this dynamic, and it'll help with not allowing this to affect your future friendships and relationships. Rooting for you, yellow heart. Am I the asshole for being petty and not buying my fiancé breakfast? I, 24 female, have been with my fiancé, 27 male, close to 3 years. We recently got engaged, moved in together. We're very close and do everything together, but have the perfect amount of alone time for our own hobbies. Time. I've noticed since we've moved in he's not put in as much effort for us to do stuff together as far as dates. We both work a lot, but that's nothing new. It's obvious his lack of effort is because he now sees us spending time together in bed watching shows every night as our time. I suggest things to do, but it gets old being the one coming up with everything. I've told him I feel this way and he's denied that he hasn't put effort in, but said he'd be better about it. He asked me a few days ago to go on a dinner date this evening, which I was excited for. Yesterday we spent the entire duration of the day at his friend's house for a game, and had to get there early so he wouldn't miss the game before as well. He was dying to watch. I'm not into sports or football, but I know he is, so I make the best of it and try to go whenever he does because he likes watching together. The thing is, whenever it's football season he wants to spend all of our time watching sports. I told him with me working every other weekend that the Sundays I do have off I'd rather not be spending that way. He agreed, but yesterday was a special occasion because it was the first game of the season for his fave team. So, I went with the impression that with both of us having the next day, today, off, we'd have an us day, even if it's just cleaning together or being lazy. Well, this morning after laying in bed for a bit, maybe 10-15 minutes, together, both of us watching TikToks and relaxing, he gets out of bed and says he's going to go play Xbox. It's early in the morning and I laid there for a bit, then decided I wanted breakfast. Almost always if one of us is going to get food we get the other something, but I'm truthfully fed up with forcing him to hang out with me and having to have talks with him to get him to do so. I opened the door to him to told him I was going to get food and I'd be back soon. He got excited and said, "Ooh, from where? What did you get me?" I told him I already ordered and just got food for myself since he had other stuff going on. He got upset and said whatever and called me petty, so I could tell he was angry. That being said, I went and got my fave breakfast up the street and took it home to eat it. He came out from playing when he heard me come in and asked me for a bite. I was taken back by him even asking, so involuntarily I looked at him like he was crazy. He went back in and now won't talk to me, and I'm imagining he's going to use it as an excuse to play his games all day. I care that he's upset, but I don't think it's fair he expects to put me on back burner for things like sports, video games, etc., and then want me to take care of and prioritize him. Am I the asshole here? I was texting a girlfriend of mine about it and she said she doesn't blame me, but his reaction is as if I'm mistreating him. Everyone sucks here. Your idea of what life with a partner is like may be a bit clouded. You live together and as time passes you will spend more time just living. However, that's not to say he shouldn't put in an effort. He should, it's what keeps the relationship alive. What I'll also say is that this reads as a text from someone who is petty living with someone else who is a significant other petty. You seem to be internalizing it a lot and then projecting your idea of a partnership onto him. He, on the other hand, seems not able to understand that he is not a single or living on his own anymore. You both have some clear work to do in order to make this work, to be honest. These things, albeit small, really fucking add up. Do I think you're an asshole for passive-aggressively making your point by buying breakfast for yourself? Yes. Do I understand why you did it? Yes. Do I think you're being petty? Yes. Do I think you're the only problem here? Not by a long shot. You're fed up, pissed off, and sick of his shit, so you decided you'd make a day for yourself since he wanted to start the day with games. Is the whole day ruined because of it? Yeah, probably. But, look, your boyfriend should be listening to you, and before he got out of bed, he could have asked you what your plans were for the day or what you wanted to do. It honestly, to me, sounds like you're not much of a priority to him and your wants, desires don't really matter. Yeah, but he sucks more than you. You are the asshole. In my opinion, the situation could have been handled a lot better. The 10/15 of a minute you spent playing on your phone could have been spent asking what he wanted to do. When he said he was going to play Xbox, you could have just said you wanted to spend time with him today. You could mention things to him after the fact, but unless something is addressed in the moment and communicated properly, which isn't playing the "I'm gonna wait for you to need me for something then not help" game, he might not even be noticing the specific things that are bugging you. You can't solve one problem by creating another. Not the asshole. I get why he thinks you two are spending the extra time together, but it's not the same as making time for the other person. The dinner date is kinda unclear. Did you not go? Is it tonight? I think a lot of this is normal and comes from being in a long-term relationship. Demanding that he not watch football games when that's something important to him isn't very fair. Partially, I think you need to adjust your expectations and be happy making quality moments fit into the everyday. If you both typically always get each other something when you go get food and he always does it for you, I think it's a little petty. You could both do better so saying you are the asshole. So you assumed that you'd spend the day together doing X. You didn't discuss it or make plans, you just assumed you'd spend the day a specific way. Then because he didn't do what you didn't tell him you wanted to do, you went and got food for yourself despite the two of you always getting the other food? And you're now mad that he's upset with you? Yeah, you're definitely the asshole. Not the asshole. Sounds like you're exhausting your efforts in a one-sided relationship. I'm not sure what's going on, but it sounds like he's avoiding something. Don't sugarcoat what you say, be blunt and direct, and if he has a problem with it, stand your ground, because that seems like that's the only way you're gonna get through to him. If nothing else, there's a lot of workbooks out there for couples counseling. You can get to work on better communication, and there's no shame in needing help. Not the asshole. You should have made the whole day a treat yourself day and let him stay home playing Xbox. If he's not going to put in any effort, you're not going to coddle him like a baby.